Good morning, it is me, Pearl, and this is Tuned In Tarot, and we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies inside of ourselves, understanding that whatever state these energies are in, we can see reflected back to us in the outside world. So we can glean things from people in our lives, but really all we're learning is where we're at, what our set point is at, and if we want their set point to change, then we have to do that work within ourselves to see that happen on the outside. Okay, Divine Feminine's going to go first again today. She had almost all of her cards showing. Looks like a little bit of a rough ride for Divine Feminine, so hang on. The only cards I can see for Divine Masculine look pretty interesting, so hang on. Okay, Divine Feminine, let's get started. Top of the deck, overall headspace, forefront of the mind for you. Temperance energy in reverse. So I have a divine feminine who's feeling imbalanced. It's not so surprising. She's been waiting quite a while. I can see from her headspace that the weight is really kind of giving her some trouble, and she's feeling some type of way. And when we're feeling some type of way, it is definitely really easy for us to want to slip back into our old patterns and behaviors. Now, this can indicate patterns and behaviors you've had with substances, or it can be like a loop thinking. Anything that's going to come in with that devil energy card is usually what we're needing to temper. She's needing to temper out these doubts and fears, these that have a hold of her mind. This is definitely has its basis in worthiness, and it's a struggle for her right now. This is also a difficult time for some of us in terms of temperance, because we're going to be around others potentially, not this one, but some of us are going to be around others who are not in their temperance energy either. So it can be a struggle there to be able to maintain that sobriety if that's something that you're trying to do. It's also a time of imbalance in terms of if you're alone and you're feeling, the sadness that kind of comes with not being around others in this time of year, or if this time of year has never been happy for you and you've seen other people experience happiness and you feel like you're not part of it, it can be an issue for you as well. So she's trying to keep herself in balance. The thing is, it's at the forefront of her mind. So she's working at it. It might be a struggle, but she's got it at the forefront of her mind. So she's not letting it slip out of her consciousness and just kind of go with it. She really wants to be able to maintain this balanced energy inside of herself so she can see this physical union and so that she can maintain her health and her worthiness. This card in the Mystic Mondays deck, we have this abstracted image of what it means to be imbalanced. But when we look at this card in the O.G. Smith Waite imagery, we're seeing the Archangel Raphael, the healing angel, the twin flame angel. And that angel, that divine presence, is really doing the tempering for her. So she's really struggling with it herself and is calling on that higher power to help balance her out so that she can get through this time that's pretty difficult right now. The niggling feeling in the back of her mind is this Ace of Wands. So, and it's upright. So she senses this, this, it's like the, I don't know the word. It's like the very spark that makes her desire is burning brightly there in the back of her mind. So it's like the temperance energy that's in reverse. She's able to keep this in her consciousness and want to be balanced, because what she desires so much is burning there in the back of her mind. She desires to have, a good experience and to see this manifestation of this physical union. So she's hanging on to that deep desire that she has to be in balance so that she can get through this time, which in her head space is very challenging. On the first card up, we have the Ten of Cups, but it's in reverse. so it's feeling so elusive to her right now, this spiritual fulfillment, this happiness that comes with the Ten of Cups. That's really what the desire is. The desire is to achieve this Ten of Cups and then ultimately the Ten of Pentacles here in the material world. But it's feeling like it's out of reach, and that's what's making her feel the Temperance energy be imbalanced. She's like, I want to trust, I want to believe, I want to have faith that this is going to happen, that I'm going to come into this physical union, that I'm going to see this physical manifestation of the thing that I'm desiring. But it seems like it's still just out of reach for some reason, or I don't trust it, or I'm not fully understanding it. Like there's definitely this kind of a bit of confusion I'm seeing about how exactly to maintain spiritual fulfillment when you're struggling with sadness and with heartbreak and with impatience and all of those feelings. Like, how does she maintain this Ten of Cups and keep it upright? By persevering, by healing, by going into this Nine of Wands energy where you have, you have these inner wounds that you feel have blocked you from this Ten of Cups, but you refuse to surrender to them. You are willing to go and work very hard and heal whatever it is that's making you fear like you're not going to be able to have what it is you want. You're going to persevere. You're not going to allow yourself to be taken down by the wounds you've received. And she's protecting herself at this time so that she can do this healing. I can already see union. And then we have the Judgment card, and it's in reverse. And there's part of it is that there's a resistance here to judgment, but there's a wanting to release harsh self-criticism, like being understanding. Like, it makes sense that you're doubting. It makes sense that you have fear. It makes sense that you're struggling with temperance right now. Like, that's okay. It's a sense that she's really not judging herself harshly for this state that she's in, but it's also a resistance to kind of receiving that atonement and that salvation. She's afraid, I think. She's afraid of judgment. She's afraid of being judged for the beliefs that she has. I think that's a big part of this, is like the thing that she wants is difficult to believe in. And she feels like if people really knew what it was that she was hoping for or what her desire was, that she would be judged harshly for this as well. She fears judgment from others. And she fears that she won't receive salvation too. There's like a feeling of like, I don't know if I'm actually going to see this happen here on the earth, or if I'm just going to be waiting forever for this spiritual fulfillment to come. And then we have the Ace of Cups in reverse. And this is actually what is clarifying the Ten of Cups in reverse. So we have a bunch of cups spilling out here. And we have our Temperance energy where there's a struggle with the Temperance energy. If this is a Divine Feminine who deals with substance abuse, it could be a situation where she's really just needing to pour that poison out of her cups and fill it up. But for those of you who are not struggling with an actual alcohol issue, and it has more to do with just that devil energy that is still there inside, lingering, obsessive thinking, fear, anxiety, obsession with the physical manifestation, addiction to any substances. It's just that she understands that until she pours out whatever is left, this which is all about this feeling not worthy inside of the self, until she pours this out, she's not able to see her spiritual fulfillment. But I'm going to do the favor for her that I've done for Divine Masculine a few times in the readings in the last few weeks. I'm going to turn these cards over for her. I'm going to shift them, because as she fills up this cup of self-love, this spiritual fulfillment is achieved. And I know she's fully capable of that, especially because we're seeing her persevere, right? So she's in a place where she is going to be able to have that cup filled, share with the overflow, experience that Ten of Cups which ultimately results in the 10 of Pentacles. She's also thinking about her ability, her tendency, her propensity to self-sabotage, right? And this is what's clarifying the 9 of Wands. So this is what she's healing. This protection here is the same kind of protection that we see here. If we look at self-sabotage, if we reframe that as really just self-protection, it's something that slows you down. It throws an obstacle, right? When you're deep in the throes of self-sabotage, you're preventing an outcome. You're preventing, in this case, a spiritual fulfillment. So when you're deep in that, you are blocking yourself from spiritual fulfillment. But if you are not healed completely, if your wounds are so deep and you still need to heal them, this divine feminine does not trust this divine masculine completely. The promises that have been made before, that have been broken before, there's a deep wound there. And I'm really sensing that all of this is her protecting herself right now from getting hurt, not believing in spiritual fulfillment, not thinking about it, being like wanting to think about this physical manifestation happening. But then if she thinks about it, is afraid that she's going to hurt herself. So she's protecting herself. But when she throws these thoughts up that are like, it's not going to happen, don't get your hopes up, that's ridiculous, it's really self-sabotaging. So she's needing to go in, and this is her headspace, remember? So she has this awareness. She needs to heal this. She needs to sit today in meditation, which is the next card up, actually. And she needs to pray. And she needs to start healing these wounds having to do with trust. Because remember, the divine masculine energy that she doesn't trust, which is herself, right? She doesn't trust herself. That energy is old energy. That went out with the old, which we worked on the release cycle for that for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, post Lionsgate portal and the blue moon and all the things that were helping us to do this massive release of this old energy that we have within us. And then on the 21st, we experienced this shift into this completely new energy, which is not anything she's experienced. So the divine masculine that she doesn't trust is new, is reborn, is not the same divine masculine that went before, because she's not the same. She's did all of the work. She did all of the releasing, and that put her into a place where she can now have this positive experience. And she's just not fully aware of it yet because she's still thinking about old energy that's been there for a long time. She's doing overthinking, but this last thing on her mind is this Four of Cups, and it's in the same position that it was yesterday. Meditate, contemplate, get grounded in nature, communicate with the divine, ask for help in filling this cup that has to be poured out and filled again. She's definitely feeling depleted by having to trust a divine masculine who's not given her anything to trust, right? He's not given her anything she can hold on to. So she's feeling very depleted by that energy. And this is the overthinking. And it's beautiful because she's realizing that she's not trusting her intuition. What has her intuition told her this whole time? And how interesting to have two cards about balance in reverse. So there is an imbalance here. She's needing to go within into this energy of the Four of Cups, communicate with the divine, hear the inspiration from the divine, feel it, embrace it, accept it, and start to trust this intuition again. So I'm going to do the same thing I did for the 10 of Cups and the Ace of Cups. I'm putting this back into her headspace upright because she realizes I have to trust my intuition. Fear is not intuition, right? Intuition that warns you that something bad is going to happen, or that you shouldn't get in that car, or that you shouldn't go here. It doesn't feel like fear. It feels like knowledge. It feels like certainty. Fear feels like uncertainty. So if she's afraid that this divine masculine isn't going to show up, isn't going to come through, isn't going to materialize, and she's got worry and it feels dark and it feels far from alignment. That is fear. That is not intuition. Her intuition is actually telling her the opposite, which is why when she thinks about her fear about it, it feels bad. And holy shit, my ego is really needing to hear this right now. Holy shit. Yes, that's absolutely true. Take that information and run with it. It is very helpful. Wow. Okay. Trust your intuition, babes. Like, trust and believe. Believe. All right. The top of the deck for the heart space is the same card. We keep saying this, Three of Pentacles in its reversal, which is this feeling of wanting that collaboration, wanting that teamwork, but feeling alone, feeling like you're all by yourself here, working on these wounds, trying to heal these wounds, and you're completely alone in this process, and really desiring to be with your other half, your counterpart, while you're doing this work, and resisting being alone right now, feeling this resistance to work on the self, working alone by oneself, because this 10 of Wands is the niggling feeling, because you're feeling very much in this, so burdened by this and just ready to put down this burden of having carried this union on your back all this time, holding down this fort against a complete silence from divine masculine, near complete silence. Some of you have experienced communication, some of you have not. And in this void, in this vacuum, you've had the burden of carrying this belief that the spiritual fulfillment that you will experience once you've come into union will translate to this physical manifestation of this thing that you desire, that niggling feeling. And look at this Ace of Wands in your headspace coming to a completion in the 10 of Wands in the heart space. So the niggling feeling in the back of the mind where you're just holding on to that desire for dear life, that absolute fulfillment of that desire, you're seeing here as a feeling that it's time now to put down this burden of working alone, of being alone, of not being with someone else. And the imbalance that you're experiencing is coming from this resistance to not wanting to work together, that divine masculine energy that's resisting being in that team with you, that's wanting to do it on his own and make his own decisions and, you know, be the one that decides when things happen. It's really been a burden for you and you really want to surrender this. And I think it's so interesting that as I'm doing this, we're hearing this extraordinarily loud dump truck, which is literally dumping out the waste, releasing the garbage that's really left behind in the headspace that has to do with fear and worry and not trusting your intuition. Here's that Four of Swords. Now, divine feminine in your heart space, you are praying. You are praying so much. I spent almost the entire day yesterday, anytime I had a moment where I was, because I'm in my fear right now, I'm fully feeling this side of the divine feminine energy. And whenever I would feel that, I really would just go right into prayer. And I felt also this silence. So this is the divine feminine's experience. This silence makes her feel like there's this death here, like there's this potential that something has ended and she didn't even know because she hasn't even heard anything about it. And so she's just praying, desperately praying for guidance. And this is also clarifying the spiritual fulfillment that was in reverse. So she's praying to have this spiritual fulfillment, to understand why it's delayed, to figure out what it is she needs to do to bring it to her, and feeling how burdened she's been and really wanting to put down these burdens and just praying that this work is taken from her and that this higher power will come in and start to do this balancing for her because she doesn't feel strong enough to do it herself. We have the Seven of Cups. All the cups here are in reverse, pouring out the poison. But this is also a card about feeling overwhelmed, which she did feel yesterday in her heart space. Today there's overthinking, but today her heart space is pretty balanced. She's not feeling as overwhelmed here. But she is choosing to heal these inner wounds, not confused about what it is that she needs to heal. She knows she needs to heal these trust issues. She knows she needs to heal her self-worth, her belief in her own worth. And she knows that she must persevere against these feelings of overwhelmment or these feelings of confusion that have been there, because the end of these cycles, the end of separation is here. She feels it in her heart space. She feels an ending to the cycle that she's in with this divine masculine. And she's kind of got this feeling. It's like, if I don't see this manifestation shift, this specific manifestation shift into its material state, into its 3D state, I gotta leave it behind, because I can't be in this state of confusion anymore. I don't want to be in this place where I have all these options and I'm not choosing any of them because I'm waiting for this specific manifestation. She's wanting that cycle to end. This is a little bit of the judgment that she's trying not to judge herself. She's trying not to judge also the divine masculine for the separation, for not having brought yet this judgment that will bring the end of their separation. But she does feel that there is an ending here. There's a culmination. And I think it's interesting that that looks so much like a Christmas wreath, because it does feel very much like this is the time. It is the time to end this silence. It is the time to come forward and bring in this Four of Wands. Now, this Four of Wands is clarifying the Ace of Cups in reverse. And when we turned the Ace of Cups upright, which we did, by the way, also, if we do the same thing, if we turn the Ace of Cups, the 10 of Cups upright, then this Four of Swords, this silence is broken. So breaking the silence brings spiritual fulfillment for divine feminine. And filling up her cup, not being depleted anymore, and having an overflow to share with divine masculine brings this Four of Wands into its state, into its full power. The foundation that she longs for is here. The sacred union that she desires is here. So again, as we help her shift that energy from her worries and fears into its upright state, she's able to achieve the sacred union. And that's what this ending is about. She knows what she's got to do. She sees it in her headspace. She knows. And her heart right now is telling her this ending is totally attainable. It's totally possible for you to be here as you trust what I have told you, that if you feel love for yourself and worthiness in yourself, you will have your spiritual fulfillment. That will allow you to attract the 10 of Pentacles, which is your material fulfillment. And she feels this power, the Magician. She's in her power. She's in that masculine worth energy in her heart space. She has the tools. She has everything she needs to avoid this self-sabotage, to avoid moving into this state of protecting herself instead of allowing what it is that she desires to come in. She's fully capable of this, and she's feeling that power of manifestation to call, to demand, to command the divine to have this manifestation be here in this physical reality. And then clarifying this overthinking, this Two of Pentacles is back. It's not about a choice. She's choosing to trust her intuition, but it's not about that. It's about this lemniscate, this eternal back and forth energy. The understanding that the imbalanced must be balanced, that what she has given from her cup must be received by her, and that this back and forth between this divine couple will bring this to them as they choose to balance those scales, as both of them choose to balance those scales, which she's praying for help to do. She will be able to see that reciprocity that she so desires with the divine masculine. All right. Not that bad. Let's take a look at divine. All right, divine masculine. Interesting. The only card he showed me was his first thought, which we'll get there. All the other cards were hidden, and it's very interesting. Top of the deck, overall, forefront of the mind for divine masculine, judgment. So we have our first card up. We have our first bit of mirroring and healing. What's divine feminine waiting for? She's waiting for divine masculine to bring in this judgment, atonement, apologize. Say he's sorry for the feelings that he has caused divine feminine to have in this imbalance that they have been in. She's waiting for that. Divine masculine is got this at the forefront of his mind. He is wanting to bring in this judgment. He's wanting to atone. He's wanting to be in his vulnerability and allow the salvation that comes from confessing and receiving penance and then being clean, being cleansed again, being free. And he wants to experience this atonement in this physical union. And the niggling thought in the back of his mind is the only way he's going to do that is if he brings this cup. It's here again, the Knight of Cups. Now, it was in the forefront of his mind a couple days ago, got all excited. It's still here. It's in the back of his mind. He knows what he needs to do. He understands that he must do this. And he apparently is ready to do that because the next thing up, the only card he showed me today, is the Three of Cups. And it's upright. So this is the first thought on his mind. He's ready to celebrate. This is, a time of celebration. This is a time of being together and sharing our cups and having fun and having a good time. And divine masculine really wants to do this. There's also coming from this card information about third-party energy. And in this case, I do think it has to do with a karmic partner or karmic relationship of some kind, which I usually don't read for, but I do sense that there is an element here that he is thinking about this. Obligations, etc. So there is third-party energy associated with this card, but it is also about wanting to experience that reunion and celebration with divine feminine. But then we have the Seven of Swords. I feel so let down by seeing this card, especially because it's upright, because it's hiding, it's about cleverness, hiding, deceit. It can be about strategy, about having to have a strategy in order to be able to come and have this celebration. It could be about the plans that he's making, it could be about a surprise that he's been planning. But the rest of the cards that I see kind of indicate that it has to do with him hiding. He's thinking about this judgment that he will receive in regards to hiding either the effects of this third-party energy or from this third-party energy. There's definitely something going on that has to do with that, because the next card up I see is another 7. And that is the Seven of Wands, where he's fighting off these energies. He's really fighting hard. And he could be fighting against the effects of this mask that he's had to wear. He could be fighting against himself. It could be that he's having to hide because he is having to fight off whatever perceived dangers or actions that have caused this halt in his ability to come forward. And then I see him resisting this Page of Swords energy. So not being brave enough to pick up the sword and wield the truth in regards to this third-party energy. So he's afraid, he's wanting to stay hidden. He's not wanting to reveal himself. He's not brave enough to pick the sword up and be able to reveal. And I think he's judging himself for this. And this could be this past energy, because remember, Divine Feminine was working on her past energy. Divine Masculine could be working on his past energy. The reasons why he's judging himself, he's wanted to bring this cup in, that's in the back of his mind. But all of this third-party energy that he's had these difficulties with kept him from doing this. And the thing that he's been hiding from and about and in regards to the Divine Feminine has to do with the Hierophant in reverse, which is past legal contracts, rigid belief systems, higher lessons, higher learning. So there's still lessons that he is having to learn in regards to his deceit and his strategizing, and he's having also to keep these things hidden from past marriage contracts or belief systems. He feels he has to stay hidden. He wants to celebrate with Divine Feminine, but he's judging himself because he's still feeling like he needs to keep this hidden. And he knows that Divine Feminine will not accept that. This is the only light I'm seeing in his headspace right now, outside of the Knight of Cups. This is the King of Cups. It is in its reversal, and it's positive for us to see the King of Cups in reversal for him, because the shadow traits of the King of Cups, when it is upright, is that he must maintain silence in order not to cause turmoil, right? He has to keep a straight face, keep it together, so that he can fully protect Divine Feminine or whoever it is he's trying to protect. But he's wanting to release the shadow traits of this king and speak. And that's why I think I see him fighting himself. These opposing forces, it's himself. It's his own fears in regards to the past legal contracts or the past rigid belief systems that have been in place that have caused him to hide. He's just been fighting against himself, and he wants to stop doing that and really be fully expressive. Bring that cup in and express to Divine Feminine his feelings and what has happened and receive his atonement. The top of the deck, overall heart space for Divine Masculine, is the Hanged Man. So we have a pause here while he surrenders to the divine and gains perspective. It's good that he's surrendering, because he has fear and he has worry in his headspace, and he's also, I think, surrendering to this judgment. He's surrendering to the energy of this atonement as well. But that is a pause. And the niggling feeling is this Eight of Wands in its reversal. So this is about not sending the messages he needs to send. It's about the motion, the forward motion being slowed down. It's also about him slowing the roll a little bit. Like, don't go too fast. Take your time, pause, take a moment, reflect. Not what I want to see. Not what my ego wants to fucking see. All right. First feeling in his heart space is the Ace of Swords. And it's in its reversal, because the truth about this third-party energy, the clarity, the directness, it's not here. But he's trying to be optimistic in regards to this Seven of Swords energy. He's trying to release the sadness that was caused when he engaged in this deceit, in these behaviors that have really caused a lot of strife between the two of them. So he's trying to be optimistic about also the plans that he's making and what he's planning to do. And here's Union, Two of Pentacles. And it is about that reciprocity. It is about this dance that Divine Masculine has been doing, trying to balance with Divine Feminine, trying to choose to come forward towards her. And it is clarifying the Seven of Wands in his headspace. So he's needing to make some kind of a decision to stop fighting himself, to stop fighting against these opposing forces, to just stop doing that. He just really needs to stop. And he wants to choose to do that. He wants to choose to balance the connection, but he hasn't made that decision yet. And there's the moon. And the moon is in its reverse because he's trying to release the fears and anxieties that are preventing him from being able to pick this sword up and wield it and come with the truth directly to Divine Feminine swiftly and express to her what it is that has kept this from happening. Then we have the star in reverse, which is clarifying this Hierophant. So both the moon and the stars are in their reversal. The moon, he's also wanting to come out of that 5D energy. He wants to come from the dream space into physical reality. The star we're seeing in its reverse because if we interpret this card the way that Eric from Positive Tarot Wisdom gave me this layer that he looks at this card, instead of a sense of hopelessness, which can sometimes be perceived in the reversal of the star because it's a card about hope, it actually is about that star now coming down to the earth, because the star that is here, as it is reversed, it comes down to the earth and his wish fulfillment is coming. It's also, though, about remaining hidden. And it's in regards to these past legal contracts. And it is about Divine Feminine remaining hidden. And so he has fear and anxieties that he's trying to release about having to keep Divine Feminine hidden from the energy that's associated with this Hierophant energy. And it could also be these rigid belief structures as well. But having to keep her hidden, he's trying to release these fears that he will have to do this and be optimistic that he can just allow this illumination to happen so that the truth can be made clear. And then we have him in his Emperor energy, and it's clarifying this King of Cups. But the Emperor is also fixed upon his throne. He's not moving very fast either. So he's still sitting here with these fears and worries in Hanged Man energy with messages not coming forward, trying to get into a place where he is releasing the shadow traits of this King of Cups energy, but also being fixed, rigid, stubborn, and somewhat controlling of the situation. Wow. Not looking forward to the rest of my day, I can tell you that. Very much. All right. Divine Feminine. You all got only one oracle card today. So you don't need that much help, although I feel like I do. So I don't know. Maybe I need to pull more cards for myself after this. Goddess energy. You are in the light attributes of the goddess Divine Feminine. The feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. So you are a goddess right now, Divine Feminine. You have released any shadow traits associated with this. You are just the Divine Feminine. You're experiencing wisdom, your true nature, your life force, and your sensuality. And it is a very attractive energy to be in. Your guardian angel is here to support you again in making a wise decision. So there is some decision that needs to be made, some choice that needs to be made. And you're trusting your intuition, going within and meditating and discovering what decision needs to be made. You must trust it because it is a wise decision. My greatest gift to give is my happiness. The greatest gift that you could ever give is your own happiness. When you are in a state of joy or appreciation, you are connected to the stream of source energy that is truly who you are. And anything or anyone that you are holding as your object of attention benefits from your attention. So the greatest gift that you could ever give, this is such an interesting card to get today, is your own happiness. You have to get into a state of joy and appreciation somehow, Divine Feminine. When you enter into that state, anything or anyone that you're holding as your object of attention benefits from your attention. So it would be a wise decision, Divine Feminine, if you could get into a state of joy and appreciation. If it is this Divine Masculine that you are wanting to see as a physical manifestation, it would behoove you to be in joy and appreciation for him. If you are in that self-sabotaging energy of worrying and doubt and believing that he's not capable of coming forward, seeing him in that old energy where he's fixed and unmoving, then he's reflecting that back to you. If you want that to change, you have to enter into a state of joy or appreciation. So you got to try your damnedest today. I know I'm going to have to try very hard. This energy is difficult for me because I wasn't able to give gifts this year, which is really hard when you're a mom. So it's difficult for me to trust in this card right now that my state of joy or appreciation would allow me to give gifts to my son. So I'm really trying to really absorb that energy and believe that my happiness will help me to physically manifest my desires for my family. Have faith in your dreams, Divine Feminine. Have faith in your dreams. Right now, you've been training for this for lifetimes. So you are prepared. You are ready to take on this burden that you're wanting to put down. You've been training for this. You have been given all of the tools that you need, which you did feel in your heart space, that magician energy. You felt it. You've been training for this for lifetime. So don't be afraid that you're not going to be able to accomplish this, that you're not going to be able to have your dreams. Divine Masculine, you are in the light attributes of beggar energy, which is confronting empowerment at the level of physical survival and awakening the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. So this is releasing the shadow sides of that Five of Pentacles energy, that lack mentality, and really confronting the empowerment that you have achieved at the level of physical survival. So you're really feeling, you are feeling fully in your masculine worth energy there with that Emperor card. So you have confronted that empowerment. You've awakened the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and your self-esteem. Your guardian angel is here to support you in the commitment that you have made. A commitment to yourself, a commitment to family, to Divine Feminine. And you have also to keep these commitments. This guardian angel's energy is helping you to be able to come forward and experience that atonement, experience that salvation that comes from having made this commitment to yourself, whatever that should be. Success is about the joy that I feel. When you are genuinely thrilled by someone else's success, that means you are right on the track of your own. Success is not about getting it done. The measure of success in life is not the attainment of the money or the stuff. The measure of success is absolutely the amount of joy you feel. So when you're genuinely thrilled, that means you're successful. So it's not the money, it's not the material manifestation, it's not even the physical attainment of union. It's just your success is how much joy you feel. Believe in the impossible, Divine Masculine. Here's the blue moon. Just believe in the impossible. And then this priestess energy was in reverse, just like Divine Feminine's high priestess was in reverse. So trust your intuition. How are you being called to step up and lead? Trust your intuition in regards to this. How are you being called to step up and lead? Go within. You're in that hanged man energy, surrendered. Figure out how you're being called to step up and lead. All right. The bottom of the deck for both of you. You need to call in the light attributes for the Fool. Right now, you're in the shadow attributes of using humor to wound rather than liberate and a denial of your emotional truth. And you need to fearlessly reveal your emotion and help people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. So you need to embark on this new beginning. You need to be new. Divine Feminine, if your behaviors are self-sabotaging, those are old behaviors, right? So you need to make like new. You need to fearlessly reveal your emotion. I think I pretty much fearlessly revealed my emotion today. So fearlessly reveal your emotions. Don't hold back, either one of you. Practice makes perfect. Understand that you don't have to be perfect to come together. You don't have to be fully healed to come together into physical union. You will heal throughout time, right? You've done healing that will allow you to come into physical union, but you do not have to be perfect. You are practicing, right? You've been training for this for a lifetime. Training is about practicing. I will never cease being or desiring. You will never cease to be. New desires will be constantly born within you. Source will never stop answering your desires, and your expansion is therefore eternal. And so you may begin to relax if in this moment there is something you desire that has not yet come to fruition. Just relax. Just relax. You will never cease to be. You will have new desires. Source will never stop answering your desires, and your expansion is eternal. So there's if what you want hasn't come to be, just relax. Understand that you will have endless desires and that you will always be in a state of desiring and waiting for, to a certain extent, for your desire to culminate as you come into union. This is something you're going to keep doing over and over and over and over again. A fiery climax approaches. And this is full moon in Aries. So this is a bold energy, right? And it's fiery. So get ready. This fiery climax is approaching, and that's probably got a lot of sexual energy in there as well. So this physical union that you're seeking, believe, have faith in your dreams, believe in the impossible, and experience this really wonderful physical union here in the 3D. And then finally, break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing, and rewriting the future. You are literally in the age of Aquarius now. This new age where this future is being rewritten. It is no longer the projection of the age of Pisces. This is completely new ideas, completely new beliefs about self and others and our place in the world and everything. So you are breaking these chains. You are no longer bound to these ancestral patterns. You are healing those ancestral patterns and rewriting this entire future, which is a big job. All right, I'm going to go probably cry in my bed. But everybody have a wonderful Merry Christmas, and I will see you in probably on Saturday. So take care, everybody.